Hey, look at my hat. Very cool. So today's video, we're going to talk about my formula for a better life. As I'm talking through the points that I'm going to be making, and as I'm talking about the negative things and the thoughts and the actions, just keep in mind that I'm talking about myself in this experience. Okay, I made a video probably a couple months ago now talking about what I've learned about depression, and somebody messaged me on Instagram and told me that they liked the video. And ever since I saw that, I had no intention on talking about it specifically in my next video, but I felt kind of called to after that. I was like, you know what? It could help somebody. So I'm gonna talk to you about my experience with depression and my experience with getting better and feeling better and what I've learned about myself. I have suffered with depression in my life for as long as I can remember. If I'm being honest with you, as long as I can remember. It got really bad in middle school. I had really bad anxiety, really bad negative thoughts. I wanted to not exist any longer. I don't know why that just did something to me just now. Whew, okay. I thought about middle school me, and I thought about the fact that she really did not want to go forward in life, you know? And it's crazy because I was so young. If I'm being honest, it wasn't anything specific. Like, I didn't grow up with like a little finch just came to my window just now. What the hell? Something like that has never happened, and it's kind of weird that that just happened as I'm reflecting through this moment. Little 12, 13-year-old me did not expect to be here, you know? And I didn't grow up with a particularly rough upbringing. I just suffered mentally. If I just was so deeply sad. You know, it comes and goes at the weirdest times. I never really labeled it depression until I got older, and I realized that the sadness just kept getting deeper and deeper, to the point where when I was okay and I wasn't having an episode, I would kind of feel it in my bones that it was coming. I would say within the last 4 to 5 years, like I lost my job a couple of years ago, and I felt like I had nothing, and I was a nobody, and I felt like I was a loser, and I had no purpose, and I just put this immense pressure on myself to be like everyone else, maybe. Purpose-driven, motivational, rich, I don't know, materialistically wealthy, I don't know, like that was what I feel a lot of average people want. People just want to be popular. They want to be known. They want to be loved. They want to be influential. They want to be liked. They want to be an anomaly, I guess. And at the time, I felt like because I didn't have this like long, big career, this meaningful, impactful career, I felt like that meant I was just so behind in my life. I didn't have a job for a long time, for a couple of years. I think it was like 2 years or a year and a half. I couldn't enjoy a single day of freedom, and like I was free, you know? Like, not like, I know people are gonna think of it as like, you know, you should have worked harder. You should have did everything you could have to hustle, you know? But I never really wanted that. I never really wanted a job or a career that I would give my life to, especially if it was a meaningless job. Somewhere around COVID, a couple years later, whatever, I found Joe Dispenza. If you do know Joe Dispenza or you don't know Joe Dispenza, he studies neuroplasticity and manifestation, we'll call it. He proves that in order to live a better life, you have to break the habit of being yourself. And when I found out about that, it was a reminder of the path that I was supposed to be going down. So I learned about neuroplasticity, and you know, breaking the habit of being yourself and how your personality creates your personal reality. And I was like, dude, this is crazy information. And I'm not going to sit here and recite everything that he's taught. And I think that if that is something that you are interested in, go watch his interviews, because it's truly life-changing. It really makes you take a step back and look at yourself in your life. And the last 4 or 5 years I've been following this and learning about it, and it has made such a great impact on my life and who I am today. But I'm gonna now tell you the formula that I use and the things that I've learned to feel immensely better. And I hope that this helps you too, even just a little bit. I'm gonna give you some things that I'm just gonna call it mentally rehearse throughout my day, every single day. If it's one thing that I've learned in the last couple of years, it's that when you are not mentally rehearsing, you are living unconsciously. You are living unconsciously, and living unconsciously is the problem. You need to live consciously. You need to do things with intention, and not to be one of those spiritual hippy dippy woo woo people, but like living a life through like love and gratitude. I hate to say it, but they were right. Those motherfuckers were right. It works. It works and it feels good. I mean, if you want to know anybody else, Joe Dispenza, Katie Clark, Abraham Hicks, Neuro Knowledge, they all talk about manifesting and changing your life and changing your reality. And it is really, really, really good information. And they articulate it in a way that I am unable to at this time. I can only give you my story and what worked for me. And even that articulation might be a little difficult for you to swallow and digest, but bear with me. Living intentionally, living consciously, and figuring out who you want to be. That's what this is all about. You don't have to be stuck. You don't have to feel stuck. You don't have to be the person that you are today. Thinking that people can't change is a problem. People can change. It is just the work that comes with it that keeps people from changing, because you live every day on autopilot and you're not even realizing that you're doing the same thing. You're having the same reaction. You're getting upset about the same things every single day. You're doing the same thing. You're who you are, that emotional response every time something bad happens or something good happens or something happens in general. That emotional response that you have is creating who you are every day throughout your day. I don't know if I said that right, but anyways. Number one is that I don't need a purpose. Now, I know that there's a lot of talk and that might be controversial. Once I let go of the fact that I needed a purpose in order to fit in and exist into this world, my life got tremendously better. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's to say that we need a purpose in order to exist? And if we don't have a purpose, we don't have the right to be here and exist and live and just exist and be. You don't have to be a Nobel Peace winning person. If you want to be, that's fine. But those things will come with good intention. That's the thing. I do believe that if you act with good intention, with your heart's intuition, genuinely, those things will come to you naturally. One of the triggers that I would have that made me feel really dark was the fact that I had no passion for anything, you know? And that's not to say like I don't enjoy doing things. I was so stuck in the fact that like my passion wasn't my purpose and my purpose wasn't generating money or income. And that cycle is why everything felt so empty, was because there needed to be a label and there needed to be a generation of income to everything that you put out into this world. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's kind of crazy. Like, I have been making content for 4 or 5 years now, and I genuinely do it because I enjoy it. Yes, I'd love for this to go somewhere and I'd love for it to generate income for me. You know what I have? I have a community of people that show up for me that I've never met before. I've never met these people. That experience is not something that can be fabricated. I had to learn that I don't need a purpose in order to be here. I can just be, and things can just flow, and I can just exist, and I can find things that I enjoy and enjoy them without needing to show everybody and show off. There's just so much ego behind every action sometimes. And once you separate yourself from that and you take a step back and you're like, okay, I'm allowed to just be for a second until I figure out what I want to do. That thing doesn't have the power over you anymore. And then you could really, you can act and you can do things through intuition and what feels good to you. And I think we're not allowing ourselves to have things that are good for us, that feel good for us, that fuel our soul. Okay, dang, that was just number one. Number two, understanding that things don't have to be personal. I stand by this. The actions of others more than likely is not something that is personal. You know, think about when you do things. If somebody were to cut you off when you have road rage, and somebody cuts you off or whatever, they do whatever, they beep at you, and then it angers you. But it doesn't anger you because that person beeped at you. It angers you because it did something to your ego. And it made you seem lesser than, or like, this person can just step all over me. Well, guess what? I'm now gonna speed around them and cut them off and brake check them a million times. And it's like, let it go. Let it go. Really, you're doing that to make yourself feel good, make yourself feel better, make yourself feel big and bad, and nobody can bully me. Really, you're doing that to stroke your own ego. I'm gonna take this off. Yeah, understanding that not everything has to be personal, and most of the actions that other people do is to stroke their own ego. It was an eye-opener, you know, because it's like, what do you mean they didn't do this to make me mad? No, they do things to make themselves feel better, to make themselves feel bigger than you, because they have to. Why do they have to? Because it makes them feel good, because in their lives they feel pretty small. People are looking and staring at me all the time because, I mean, I don't know. I'll never know, and I don't care to know because it's none of my business. Reframe your thinking, rewire your thinking, you know, like, instead of thinking, oh man, they're looking at me because they think I'm ugly, they're doing dirty looks, like they don't like me, they're judging me. Think about, like, you don't know that. People could be looking at you because they like your clothes, they like your outfit, they love your skin, they like your earrings, they like your eyes, they like your eyebrows, they like your lips, they like your teeth, they like your hair. Like, there are just as many things as you can conjure up in your mind, just as many bad things as you can conjure up in your mind as to why they're looking at you, equally can be good things as to why they're looking at you. So why not reframe your mind to think, okay, maybe they like my hair. That's what I'm gonna go with, and then walk away, because it literally does not matter and you will literally never know. Number three, learning to breathe. Listen, I know it sounds really simple and maybe even unhelpful, but learning to breathe, especially through anxiety, stress, anger, even excitement, like learning to breathe through those really heavy emotions is really important, because the quicker that you can come into a calm space, the more clearly you can think, the more that you can, the faster you'll be able to bring yourself down. I do breath work. Not very often, maybe once or twice a week, I'll do some breath work with my yoga. It can make you feel almost elated, like high. Like, it can make you feel like you're on drugs. It's such a healing, so simple thing to do. Learning to breathe, like, sometimes that's all you need. It's like, okay, let me just, you know, when thoughts get real loud, and it's like a lot, sometimes it's like, okay, let me just sit with myself and just breathe through these thoughts. It's like, it's such a simple thing that you don't ever think about. You know, what's the first thing that happens to you when you get anxiety? Like, your breath starts to pick up. When you're like scared or you're afraid and you're in fear, your breath gets shallow. Learning to breathe and doing breath work can help you tremendously with just calming those emotions down, you know? I do breath work with Sandy on YouTube. Great guy. He was the person that I did breath work with the first time on YouTube. Completely changed like my perspective of how to breathe, when it's important to just intentionally breathe. Number 4. This one might ruffle some feathers. Taking responsibility. Now I know that sounds really simple, but like taking responsibility. You are not a victim in your life. Yes, bad things happen, and that's not to say like your emotions and your traumas, and it's not to invalidate your feelings about those things that have happened to you and your life circumstances, but you have to also understand that it's you. Like this is you. This is your life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you versus you versus yourself. Yes, there are not nice people out there. There are not nice situations and circumstances that could be happening in your life. But you owe it to yourself to get to a better place mentally. You owe it to yourself to try and don't give up, because it is only you. Like nobody, people can give you a hand and help you up, but you have to take the steps to get to where you want to go. And that includes taking responsibility. Like take responsibility for the things that you do or that you don't do. That includes showing up for yourself. That includes having discipline. You say you want to go to the gym, but yet you're blaming the fact that, oh, I worked late and I don't have a ride and I don't have a gym membership and this and this and this and this. But it's like there are no excuses, because you can literally take runs around the block. You can do pull-ups, sit-ups, whatever, calisthenics, functional workouts in your bedroom, in your backyard, in your front yard, at the park. Walk to the park, do a couple workouts, do some jumping jacks, jump rope. And you giving yourself excuses as to why you can't get up, take that next step, be better, stop that habit that you know is killing you, is just you not showing up for yourself. And you know what you not showing up for yourself results in? You not having trust in yourself. So your word means nothing to you. Like you tell yourself, you know what? I want to get better. I want to be better. I want to feel better. I want to feel good. That's going to take some work. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be difficult, but it's going to take some work. That work can be fun and freeing, and it can teach you a lot of things. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to label it hard, but it's going to be work, because you have lived this way. You have made these decisions. You have reacted to these things for years unconsciously, and now you're awakening yourself, and you're living consciously now. You're living intentionally now. When you wake up in the morning and your brain is like, oh fuck, I don't want to go to the gym, we could just stay home today, I'll go later. No, you tell yourself, no, I'm getting out. I think at this point, one thing that we need to realize is that voice in our head is not really there to help us. Our brains fear success. Our brains fear the unknown. Our brains want to keep us safe, and sometimes safety looks a lot like depression, because we know what to expect when we're depressed. We know what the sadness feels like. It doesn't feel good, but we know what it feels like, and we're a little addicted to that feeling, because we can be a victim and we can feel sorry for ourselves, and we can make excuses as to why it didn't work out, or my depression got to me, and this. How long are you gonna let that one swing for? How long are you gonna stop showing up for yourself? How long are you gonna keep taking yourself through the cycle of giving up on yourself when things get hard? And I mean, like, again, I'm speaking personally, because these are all things that I do personally, and I'm talking to myself really. Every morning now, I'm like, oh, I could just stretch this morning and that'll be good enough. No. And I'm not going to listen to you, because you are the exact reason why I ended up in the deepest, darkest place. You are the reason why I keep having dark nights of my soul. So why am I listening to you? I found that, like, I'm just gonna label it my ego. I found that my ego doesn't really have the best intentions for me. It doesn't. You know what your ego wants you to do? You know what that brain wants you to do? That part of your brain, that voice in your head, it wants you to stay exactly where you are right now because it's familiar and it's comfortable. Even though you know in your heart and soul that there is more for you. That's why you're still here. Because you know that there is more for you and there is something out there for you that you will go through and you will do, someone that you will meet, whatever, in a couple weeks, years, months, days, that will have you looking back at this feeling and being like, wow, I can't believe I was that girl, that guy. I can't believe that was me. I can't believe I almost didn't make it here. But you have to take responsibility for letting yourself down, and you have to take responsibility for taking the next steps, because nobody else can do this for you. You can watch all the videos, you can listen to all the podcasts, and you can learn as much as you possibly can, which is great, which is good, because the content you're consuming, as long as it's helpful, consume all that shit. But if you don't take action in the field, you don't actually take those next steps, you're still being afraid and you're still letting that voice hold you back. I'm gonna try and wrap this up, but like now I'm gonna talk to you about a couple of physical rehearsal things that I do. One thing that I feel like is really important into taking physical rehearsal, physical steps, is figure out who you want to be. And you know, this is like the fun part. You know, this is like the brainstorming, the vision boards, the journaling, you know, thinking, using your imagination, like using your imagination to think about the best case scenario. Picture it. Use your imagination, sit, go to a park, take a walk, no phone, don't scroll. Think about who it is that you want to be. Okay, and think about it in the most detail that you possibly can. Okay? So think about what is it that you want out of your life. Think as long term as you possibly want to, you know? Great. Now that you have like somewhat of a vision in your head, think about what is it that that person does. Maybe you just want to be happy, right? What do you think a happy person does? You know, let's role play for a little bit. What does a happy person do? You know, they probably feel good from the inside out. They probably radiate sunshine and happiness and love and gratitude. But how do we get there? Okay, well, maybe we could start by not being mean to ourselves, not talking shit about ourselves, not talking shit about others. Stop being hypercritical and critical towards other people, places, things. Don't be judgmental. They probably are not judging people. They probably really aren't worried about what other people got going on at all. That's probably what really keeps them happy. They probably realize that, like, I cannot control another person's actions. I can't. And because of that, I need to realize that sometimes people do things and they may not have anything to do with me at all. Maybe I triggered something within them, and it sucks to be treated a certain way by somebody, and you know what? I don't deserve that, so I'm gonna walk away from this relationship and this friendship because I deserve better than that, and I always get better than that. It's probably what a happy person thinks. You know what a happy person also does? They do things that they like. Maybe they do things that are hard at first, and they get through them, and they feel better about it because they didn't think that they could do it. You know, we're so within ourselves all the time. Sometimes you need to step outside of yourself to see, you know what, maybe my problems aren't as big as they feel. And of course, bad things happen. What are you going to do with that experience? You know, are you going to teach people how to get through it? Are you going to get through it yourself? Are you going to write about it? Are you going to make social media posts about it? Are you going to Are you gonna educate people on it? Are you gonna talk to somebody about it? Are you gonna go to therapy about it? Are you gonna work through it? Or are you gonna just let it be who you are and who you become for the rest of your life? And feel the way that you feel for the rest of your life, because you can't get over it. You can't get through it. You can't work through it. So figure out who you want to be, embody that person. Don't go back. Don't go back. And you have to be very conscious about this, not going back. You have to be conscious about the way you speak about yourself and others, the way you speak about your situations and your circumstances that you are in right now. Like, think about it. Hey, if I am as successful as my brain, as we're practicing to be, then I'm probably not really worried about the fact that I don't have any money in my bank account right now. Because you know what? It'll come to me. You have to have the conviction. If you're able to like flick that on and turn that light on and make that neural pathway to have the conviction, you will be unstoppable. You will be unstoppable, for real. As you grow with yourself and learn yourself and go within yourself, you'll kind of learn that like that egotistical side of you is so far different from the intuitive side of you. Like, you will quickly learn what it feels like to feel the intuitive side saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't go there, maybe we shouldn't do this, maybe we should go here. Actually, you'll know what that feels like, because that feels good. Like, it'll be like, you know what, yeah, like you'll be like, oh, I have a good idea, you know. I think we're done here now. The entire time that I have been talking to you, my throat has been like, my throat chakra is like, oof. Every time I'm speaking from the heart, my throat is like squeezing itself. That is that. And I hope that I gave you some really good nuggets in here. Anyways, love you, and I hope you have a great week, and hopefully I see you next week, because I love you and I think we're cool now. So, bye.